Good morning, everyone. It's 4th of June 2021, and welcome to this week's Surpass Community Weekly Update. In this episode, we have got a Surpass feature update. We had a pre-release webinar yesterday. Kat and Ashley will tell you a little bit more about that. Tim has caught up with Jarret Dyer. We're going to listen into their conversation, as well as the usual community news, events, and jobs. I will see you in 10 seconds. Good morning, everyone. My name is Barry Porter. I'm part of the Surpass team. I'm based here in North America, and I'm stepping in for Tim today. He's having a well-deserved break. Today is the 4th of June. It's Friday. It's my favorite day of the week. And in this week's Surpass Weekly Update, I just want to remind you that we've got the Surpass conference. That's later on in the year, 4th to the 8th of October. So if you're interested in finding out more, go to conference.surpass.com. You can find a little bit more about what happened last year and previous conferences, as well as what you can expect in this year's event. Next up, we've got the Surpass feature update. I joined Ashley and Kat, who did a wonderful job at yesterday's pre-release webinar. There was other members of the Surpass community there, and they're going to talk a little bit about one of the features, which is the end of test feedback. So let's listen into that.
So you can now show test feedback in HTML tests. Again, I'll show you a demonstration with the different options, how you can set that up, and how that will be displayed in candidate delivery. Test feedback can be configured at a test form level within test creation. Go to the Test Form Details tab and select your settings on the right-hand panel. First, I'll demonstrate what the candidate will see when the Summary Feedback option is selected. When the candidate has finished their test, they'll be able to see a summary of the questions that they have answered. They will see the percentage and their result, and then they'll see a summary by question. They can see how many marks were awarded for each question, and the key at the bottom tells them whether this was correct, incorrect, or a partial mark. However, they will not be able to click on any of these questions to review the answers. In the next example, I'm going to select Summary Feedback and Review Answers. When a candidate finishes their test, they'll now be able to click on each of the questions in the test to review them. This will look very similar, as they will see their percentage and their result and each of the questions below. But this time, they'll be able to click on the question and see which answer option they selected, as well as whether or not this was correct or incorrect. If they chose the incorrect answer, they will not see which was the correct answer for that question. Any unattempted questions will show a blank line as shown in the key. The last example will have a human marked item in the test. I'll also show you what it looks like when the Show Candidate Details option is selected. If there is a human marked question, like an essay question, this will not be able to be marked instantly. You can see here the candidate details at the top. The candidate will see that their test will be marked and the results will be made available to them, and the result will show pending. They'll still have a summary by question, so they can see how they did in each of the computer marked questions and click on these to review them. For any human marked questions, they will display the I icon and the candidates will be able to click on this to review their answer, but they won't be able to edit anything.
Thanks for that, Kat. I can imagine that feature being really useful for those who deliver HTML tests. I've got a couple of questions though. Why is this beneficial for candidates?
So the candidates get instant results, and that means that they don't have to wait for the results to be shared with them. Especially for formative tests, it can be really beneficial to get that feedback straight away whilst the test is still fresh in their heads.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. It would be better to get that feedback straight away. What about our Surpass users then? What problem is this solving for awarding organisations?
So there's a few things here. First of all, it's helping to move away from Flash-based tests as more and more functionality is available for HTML tests. And it can be really useful, as I've said before, for more kind of formative learning type of tests, because candidates can get that feedback and use that to prepare for their final assessment. And finally, it can save time afterwards. So rather than a Surpass user having to manually generate a results report and send that over to the candidate, candidates will just see that automatically as soon as they finish their test.
Yeah, and for computer mark tests, that could save a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely.
Can we expect any more developments in this area?
Yep, so in an upcoming release, you'll be able to break down these results by individual learning outcomes, and you can also give candidates the option to print that summary for reference if they want to use it later on.
Thank you, Ashley and Kat. If you did miss that webinar, then you can just go to surpass.com/webinars. You'll find that one and all our previous webinars available there. Just a reminder, we've got our next webinar coming up. So this is a healthcare examination one. You'll recall that we did one in the accountancy space. So we had a couple of our customers joining Jim for discussion panel discussion. Next one is healthcare. So that's going to be on the 6th of July. So we've got, I think we've got a full panel lined up there. So I believe we've got AN, MBCC, MBME, RCPCH, RCPOTH, to name a few. So they'll be joining Jim, and you can look forward to that. If you wish to sign up for that, then you just go to surpass.com/sign up. Next, we have the value of testing with Jarret Dyer. He's co-creator of Value of Testing Group. Tim caught up with him recently, and let's listen into what they've been talking about.
Hi, Jarret. How you doing?
Good, Tim. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Are you keeping well?
I am. Thank you. It's been an interesting time. How about yourself?
Yeah, very well at the moment. Just hanging in there, I think, just about. So you're co-curator of the Value of Testing LinkedIn Group. Do you want to tell us a bit more about yourself and tell us about the group?
Okay, thank you very much. Again, my name is Jarret Dyer. Thank you for the lovely name tag on there. So I've been a test administrator at a local community college almost about 20 years now. And so going forward, really seeing the impact that testing had on the industry itself, on our students, and on the community, it really struck us that a lot of times we were having like these great internal conversations, like you and I would meet at a conference and be like, wow, I had this candidate, or I had this student, and it's amazing. And then we would leave that kind of environment and we would go back and talk to a dean or talk to a high school principal, and I felt like testing had, as I'm sure many of us did, it was like 50-50, right? Some people really understood the value of it. Maybe they had a student or a son or daughter that got into college on just a fantastic college admissions test or something like that. But then there was always the detractor, right? There was always a parent that just said, my son or daughter is a horrible test taker. And it was very polarizing. And so we wanted to be able to have kind of a platform where people could share the positives in a way that could influence those outside of the industry who weren't seeing the positives every day. And a lot of great work had been done prior to this. I know the Association of Test Publishers had a site up and running, and it's great resources. And that led to actually a panel discussion at an ATP conference. I want to say that it was late 2017. And we were discussing it. Everybody in the room, you could feel that rhythm. People are like, yeah, testing is great. And then we stopped and we kind of looked around. We were like, I think we need to challenge ourselves to look outside and, just one conversation a week or something of that nature to try to pivot this when we hear some negativity, because there's great things about testing. It's not perfect. And I think we'll get to that with our latest post in a minute. But we kind of sat down, and so that committee, right, that panel at that ATP conference are actually the full curators of the Value of Testing group. Nikki Etchell and I are the co-curators, and have been moving forward with some great distances and then some lags as things go, especially in the last about 13 or 14 months. So now hoping really to reinvigorate this whole conversation as the world slowly comes out of this pandemic.
Yeah, well, and I think I've contributed as well over the time, haven't I? And I see huge value, because I think sometimes people, and I think Rachel kind of talks about this, people look at assessment and look at the negatives around it, look at the stress, but they don't necessarily see all the positive aspects that come out from it. And I think it's an important aspect to get across, isn't it? We've got just a clip here, because it's a LinkedIn group, isn't it? And articles are posted up by people. So this is Rachel's latest posting. She gives a bit of history, but then she's talking about standardization and the value of it, and using a couple of comparisons and drawing on some great resources there as well as part of the presentation. And it's interesting, she talks about one of the probably one of the most significant things we've seen recently, because I know you've had the kind of college admissions test scandals and things like that, but there was the Pakistani kind of pilots who had been cheating at their assessments, and that really came through as part of a crash, didn't it? Just that was one thing that stood out. So there's obviously some great value in there. What would you say is one of the kind of big values of testing? What would you personally kind of talk to about that?
Well, I think Rachel hit on a very good point in her last article. I often like to start the conversation because it's usually an all or nothing conversation. I think we've all been there, right? So it's either placement testing has to go completely away, not a mixed modality or something like that, or a mixed measure, right? And I often remind people, being from outside of Chicago in the United States, that one of the biggest issues that we had going all the way back to the World's Fair here in Chicago was when we had unlicensed plumbers working on the water supply, and people died. A lot of people got sick, and it starts kind of at that level. Like, I mean, when testing goes wrong, it has implications of these larger issues, right? People do die. And in those areas, when you talk about, a lot of the medical boards, hygienists boards, people can get very, very sick if that goes wrong. So I think that's often where I try to look, speak globally to this. I'll never forget, I was with a guide in another country, and we started talking about what we did. He was showing me around his city, and he had mentioned that his wife had died. And they pretty sure, his words, that she had contracted something by going to the dentist. And frankly, he shrugged his shoulder and he said, it happens. And it always left me, yes, it does happen, but I think in some cultures, we find it somewhat unacceptable, right? Could you imagine going to get your teeth cleaned and you had a potential risk? And so for these reasons, we hold these standards, we hold these assessments at such a high level, and everything kind of follows suit. If you start throwing away, just basic assessments, what's next?
Yeah. And I think Rachel she talks about that. Well, standardization as well, because she does go into a lot of detail about the idea of standardization and the importance of it. But she kind of acknowledges that it does have its flaws, but it's within everyone's kind of it's beneficial to everyone really to work together and prove it as a measurement tool, isn't it? So I think this and other articles and posts like this really do help people, I suppose, carry the message to their colleagues, their organizations, about why it should be done properly as well.
Yep.
Because I think that's half the challenge that we have within this industry is that sometimes we just don't do it as well as we can do in some areas. So, well, I hope the future is looking bright for the group. Have you got more articles lined up?
We hope to have a couple. I can't release them yet because the ink hasn't dried yet, if you will. But I want to say a couple of things. One, I think it's going to be very important to carry this conversation forward, especially as e-proctoring post-pandemic. There's lots of conversation, lots of pushback. There's some great news just coming out this week. But a lot of that had been so negative. I'm hoping to hear more positive. But just to follow up, Tim, it is a LinkedIn group. And as you know, LinkedIn requires that all members join. And so please feel free to send me a request on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to add you to the group. And also, if you have a contribution, if any of the listeners have a contribution as to how testing has impacted them, we'd love to look at those and see what can be posted. So thank you.
Yeah, excellent. And I'll put a link in the output as well in the comments as well, so people can see where they can find your group and request to join. So that's brilliant.
Excellent.
Well,
thank you very much, Tim.
Yeah, much appreciated. It's great talking to you, and we'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jarret, for joining Tim there. As he said, it is a LinkedIn group. You can go on there. You can find the value of testing. Send that request through to Jarret, and he will add you in. Next up, we've got some event news. So ATP 2021. So that took place at the end of April. They're producing a digital pass. So you can already buy that now. You can go to innovationsintesting.org. You can buy a digital pass. It was a great virtual conference. Covers 3 days, loads of keynote presentations and discussion. So you can go to that website for that. Alternatively, you can win a digital pass through BTL Surpass. So all you need to do is register for the Surpass community by the 9th of June, which is next Wednesday. And you do that by going to surpass.com/follow. Other event news, International EAssessment Conference and Awards. That's going to be announced via webinar. So you've got 4 consecutive Tuesday events, 4 different topics, and 4 sets of awards being given out. That's 3 till 5 British Summer Time or 10 till 12 Eastern Time. If you want to find out more about that, then you can just go to e-assessment.com/conference. Other events, Pop Topics. That's been running for a while now. That's probably the brainchild of Manny Stroud. This one, we've got the conversation with Liberty Munson. You remember Liberty spoke at the Surpass conference last year. It's always insightful. It's always a refreshing conversation when you listen to Liberty. There's no obstacle too big. She's more interested in what's possible. So check that one out. That's going to be on the 7th of June. And I believe the URL is poptopics.com. So you can just go over to there and sign yourself up. Next one, Conference on Test Security. There's a call out for papers. That deadline is the 1st of July. Then that's conferenceontestsecurity.org. The conference themselves, I think there's 3 events later on in the year, October, November, December time. So check that out. EATP, European Association of Test Publishers, ATP's younger brother or sister. That's a virtual conference this year, 27th to 29th of September. Always a great event, so do check that out as well. For any information about any of the events I've just talked about, then you can just go to surpass.com/events. Final thing, just to share, just some community news, events and jobs. Just a few things that took my eye as looking through the social media feeds. Just a sort of shameless plug for ourselves. So we're expanding our business development team here in the US as we continue to grow. So if you're interested in joining that team, then do get in touch. Perhaps get in touch with myself or any of the US team. We'll put you in the right direction. Examity, they're looking for more online proctors. So Examity continues to grow as an organization. They're looking for additional proctors just due to the demand. Our very own Tim Burnett, he's actually the chair of the Assessment Association conference. So that's his second one this year. And he just references some of the speakers, the keynotes and presenters there. So do check out Tim's feed on LinkedIn. And work crediting. I just spotted this. I haven't actually looked into a huge detail, but I just noticed they're going to be doing some coffee morning sort of almost like TV shows. So again, it's more about the quality of credentialing trends, and there's an episode available to watch, which I'll be doing later on today. I think that pretty much wraps it up. I hope I've retained Tim's audience. I haven't done too bad a job. I've got a production team behind this, so thank you to them. It's Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you're in the UK or Europe, enjoy your happy hour. For North America and this side of the water, final push. Have a restful weekend. I'll see you again soon. Take care.
The technology and services behind Surpass power the testing of many of the world's highest profile qualifications. Unique technology enables collaborative item authoring in banking, comprehensive test assembly, secure test delivery, and efficient grading and feedback of high-stakes paper, tablet, and computer-based testing, including automated one-click reporting solutions to assist you with item analysis. We can provide access to SME management services and trusted psychometricians, and our test delivery services team can help you get started with online proctoring or finding remote test centers. Or if you prefer, the advanced integration options and raw data extraction options in Surpass give you the freedom to choose your own external service providers. Trusted by international test publishers, certification, and awarding bodies, the Surpass platform is a globally hosted SaaS service with integration at its core. It is used to deliver millions of secure examinations every year in over 100 countries. In addition to a full range of standard question types, Surpass item authoring includes many innovative features which expand your testing capabilities, such as the spreadsheet question type, diagram creator tool, and the award-winning high-fidelity image viewer. When you use Surpass, you do so as part of a community of like-minded organizations. We constantly reinvest in the development of the Surpass platform with guidance and collaboration from Surpass community members. So, what else sets us apart from the competition? We provide multi-device delivery support from one platform. This is essential for making the most of the many testing scenarios and opportunities in this global market. We stand by our customers by providing excellent service and support, and above all, we are committed to continuously developing innovative features, helping the Surpass community lead the industry. We're confident that with Surpass powering your assessment, we can improve the examination experience for everyone. Get in touch with a member of the team today and discover how your assessment program could be powered by Surpass.